Hi, welcome again to Senior Focus. I'm your host, Bill Adams. Senior Focus is a show designed for adults over the age of about 50, but of course, any age, you're welcome to stay tuned. You might learn some things that can help other members of your family or your neighbors. Before we get started, I wanted to say thanks to Greg Roten from Armstrong's Channel 100. He brings the show to you, and also, if you happen to miss any of it, you can always go on YouTube. Greg is nice enough to put that up on YouTube, and so you can watch Senior Focus episodes that you might have missed. Also, we want to thank the Youngstown and Mahoning County Public Library. We're coming to you today from the Canfield branch, and thanks to them for allowing the use of their meeting room. Today we're going to be talking with Bob Schaeffer. Bob is the head of the Senior Citizens Unit with Mahoning County Sheriff's Office, and welcome.
Thank you. Appreciate being here.
Yeah, I'm glad you were able to come in. Why don't we just start with maybe a little thumbnail sketch of what the Senior Citizen Unit is with the Sheriff's Office, and maybe also as part of that you could let people know where they can contact you.
Sure. As Bill said, I am the coordinator for Mahoning County Sheriff's Department Senior Services, which is under Chief Jerry Green, or Sheriff Jerry Green. One of the goals, the main goal of our program is to assist seniors in Mahoning County. A large part of that is to help any seniors that wish to remain in their home and may need some type of direction or assistance in doing so. One of the programs we have is the Senior Watch program, where I will contact either by visit or phone seniors that are shut-ins that don't have family to check on them, or just in an area where they would like to be contacted and some communications with our agency. So that's one of the programs that initially started. This program started in 2007. One of the other things we do are referrals to other agencies, and I am open to any questions any citizen would have by contacting me at my offices at the Austintown Senior Center in Austintown on Westchester Drive. And I have a direct phone number of 330-720-6545 that people can get a hold of me and ask any concerns, and I can direct them in whatever direction they need to get an answer if I don't have it. I do things in my office. They can come in for notary work. I do notary work for seniors. If they happen to be shut in and need some notary work, I can go to their residence. Any questions they have, like transportation, I like to refer them if they don't have any other way to get around. WRTA and Easter Seals have transportation services that I will refer them to.
Yeah, it's really nice to have someone like you in that position, because over the course of time you become aware of all the programs that are out there for seniors, and I would think most people, until they need something, they're not going to know where to go. So it could be as simple as maybe stopping by at the senior center, or like you say, giving you a call. And you talked about how you do these in-person the visits.
Right.
About how many folks would you guys go out to see?
Well, currently right now I believe I have 12 that are actually signed up for the program. Since the program started, a number of other agencies have taken on the program as well, and they report back to me monthly on their visits. Austintown, Canfield, Camel just started one recently. Of course, Boardman has the computerized notification.
We talked to the former chief. That was a year or two ago. They were just starting that up. Yeah.
It seems to be going well as I've talked to them. But North Jackson and several others. There's a couple that have a program that chose not to report them to me, but they're good programs. So. If there'd be an interest, to check with your local department or contact myself. Like I say, it's for those that are concerned that have no one else checking on them, and are unable to get out and just need a periodic check.
Yeah, and there's so many seniors like that in our area, because you just think of the demographics, the age of the population, we have, compared to other areas, a larger senior population. A lot of the children have moved away. They're out of state even, or out of town. So having something like this where people check is really a godsend, I would guess.
And there are other agencies that do similar things. I would be remiss if I didn't mention the 211 system.
Okay, yeah.
Because I'm finding I go out and talk to several groups. I've done 16 or so this year. A lot of people are not aware of the 211. 211 is the Help Network of Northeastern Ohio, which used to be Help Hotline.
Right. Mm-hmm.
They have at their fingertips all the agencies in the Tri-County area that they can refer them to for assistance, as well as same thing I can do.
Right, right.
But people are, every time I talk, a lot of people are not aware of the 211.
Right. And again, you know, you're one person, so we
Right.
an easier thing to do would be if you just have a general question is to call the 211, because those folks can help. But you know, if you want a personal touch, I guess, right?
Right, yeah. If I'm available, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Now, how long have you been doing this?
I've been here 3 years.
Okay.
Kay Lavelle had it
Right.
before and did a very good job running the program, got it started.
Mm-hmm. One of the things that is a concern to seniors that are living at home, or even, you know, if they do have a spouse, if they're not alone, you know, they're crime. I know, you know, the concerns about crime, and we think about things like a break-in, you know, which is very dramatic, but there are other kinds of crime. There's fraud, things like that. Do you talk about that with seniors?
I talk about, at the groups I talk to, I talk about safety, whether it be in the home or out of the home.
Right.
I also talk about identity theft, scams, frauds, which have different definitions, but are basically all the same. It's someone trying to take advantage of the senior.
Yeah.
So I talk to them about current scams, things that are going on. I provide information in pamphlets or booklets about that so they can review it. Mm-hmm. They also include contact phone numbers for the Attorney General's office to report such things.
Okay.
So I try to provide them with whatever information I can and give them thoughts. I give them examples on ask them what they would do, and try to get them to respond and realize that some things are good, some things are bad.
Yeah, speaking of the, you know, things that, the frauds that come up from time to time, there are always new ones. Are there current things that you're hearing about that, you know, in the past year that are something people ought to look into or check on?
As far as door scams, you've had since I got on Austintown originally in 1976. You've had the blacktop scams, the roofer scams. You know, I can do this for this amount of money, and it turns out to be poor quality.
Yeah.
Or no work at all. If they go up on the roof, say, "Hey, I saw your chimney needs fixed. I was just down the street," and they give you a price, and of course the price goes up. They'll even offer to take you to the bank. The door-to-door things, you know, I talked to them about when we grew up. You left your doors unlocked, you left your cars unlocked, you invited people in and knocked on the doors.
Yeah.
Things you can't do anymore these days. And if they did not contact the company for information on their product, the best thing is to step away from it.
Yeah. And that's, again, people coming to your house. A lot of the problem is over the phone. And again, to set the picture, you know, you've got somebody living alone. They're lonely. They don't talk to people during the day maybe. And somebody calls them, and all of a sudden on the phone you have your new best friend, right? Is that sort of how it starts?
It is. There's the perception that these seniors are victims because their minds are diminishing.
Yeah.
That's one of the lowest reasons. One of the biggest ones is that, again, they were trusting. They grew up a different way than the way you have to operate today.
Yeah.
The other thing is, a lot of times they're afraid that they want more money to make sure that they can have the quality of life that they've always had.
Sure. Yeah.
So they're vulnerable to that. And then, just as you mentioned, somebody takes the time to talk to them. Mm-hmm. They don't have the opportunity to talk to people a lot, and so they will listen and fall into the scheme that's being presented.
Yeah.
You asked, you know, a couple of them I gave you the door-to-door. Computer and phone, you know, you hear it time after time, IRS, FBI, Social Security office, they will not ask for personal information on the phone, never, they won't call.
And they're not going to call at all.
They're not going to call you, they're going to
yeah.
make contact through the mail with a formal note or letter.
Right.
So, and if you have any concerns about the call, you can call that agency, but do not, you know, I tell them, don't give any information and to anybody you don't know or trust.
Sure. Yeah, you could imagine, you know, it's intimidating if somebody calls you and says, you know, you had a problem with your taxes last year. You know, we're from the Internal Revenue Service. We need to talk with you about this. You know, this is a serious matter, yada, yada. But again, if they're saying they're from the government, no, that's not true.
That's not true. And door to door again, you know, I had this made at a police supply store, but there's plenty of places that can put any insignia on a shirt they want. So if you have not been notified that a service rep is in the area coming to your door, my suggestion is to call and verify that they are truly who they say are.
Right. Now, and again, before we forget, and we'll maybe refer back to this, I know later in the year, coming up around Thanksgiving, you have a really nice event with the dinners that you provide. You want to talk a little bit about that now, and then we can, again, talk about it later?
Sure. We have a event the day before Easter. It's called Thanksgiving Dinner for Seniors, and we receive referrals from the major agencies in the area that deal with the seniors all year long and assist them. And what we do is we hand deliver a full Thanksgiving meal, warm and ready, to approximately 300. It's sometimes above, sometimes a couple below, but right around 300 seniors. And we ask that the people delivering take the time to talk to them a little bit and spend a little time with them. Those people all volunteer their time. Different agencies that have worked with the seniors through the years will come and help deliver. We have nurses from ISU annually come and help. Rotary, several different agencies, but we're always looking for help delivering those meals because they are warm meals. They have a timeline where we want to get them there timely, and it covers all of Mahoning County.
So again, we're filming the show in the early fall, so if people are out there and they're interested in maybe helping out in this event, would they be able to get a hold of you? Would that be a good place?
Yeah, the best thing would be to get a hold of me because I try to keep a running tab of how many we're going to have to help us. Okay. And again, get a hold of me at the 330-720-6545 number. There's a trunk line through the Sheriff's Department as well, but if I miss the call, I don't get the caller ID because it trunked through. Okay. So at the number I gave you,
the 720,
yeah, I get a caller ID number.
Yeah, 720-6545.
Correct.
And again, I know you're out. Well, obviously you're here today in Canfield, but what do you have regular office hours in the Austintown Senior Center? Or how's that work?
I am currently able to work 30 hours a week, and I try to stretch them all 5 days of the week. My longest day is Monday. And unofficial hours are Monday till 4, Tuesday, Wednesday till 3, Thursday 2, and Friday I'm in 2 hours to make sure there's nothing important to deal with that came in on my phone or emails.
Right. And before we started, you were talking about one of the big issues that's facing, one of the really tough issues is homelessness, is that right, with seniors?
It is. One of the biggest concerns is all the agencies that I mentioned, Adult Protective Services, Area Agency on Aging, and Catholic Charities, all search for emergency housing. The problem is it's very hard to find any. The facilities like YMHA are excellent services, but they have a waiting list. Any place we try to find has a waiting list. One of the good places is the rescue mission.
Okay.
However, if anybody's considering donating to the rescue mission for their new facility, I would recommend that you do it because what we run into is they have no elevator, so anybody that has issues with stairs, unfortunately, is unable to stay there.
Yeah, yeah.
With other, there's other issues that restrict them. But the new facility would definitely open up to a lot of the people that are currently in their cars or bouncing around or whatever.
Well, I was going to ask about, are you finding concerns about in-family problems? I'm thinking again about like the opioid crisis and, just seniors maybe being taken advantage of by their own family?
I've just put that into my presentations in the last year.
Okay.
And each time I get a response, I see some of their faces. But I tell them that their sons, their daughters, their grandchildren love them like they always did.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, they may have a love that's stronger because of the addiction for the drugs.
Yeah.
So I caution them if they start asking for a lot of money, or I've had cases before where they've given them their credit cards, their PIN numbers. They've given them stuff from the house, then they start stealing from the house. And I want to get to the point real quickly that they have to be aware that they need to recognize it at the beginning and report it, because and no fault of the prosecutors, when you go to the prosecutor and you say, yeah, I gave him the credit card, I gave him the PIN number, I gave him the money.
Yeah.
The prosecutor, as regretful it is, has to say there's no crime, or we wouldn't be able to prove.
Yeah.
So I warn them to beware of the family. Also taking over power of attorneys, things like that. You got to be very cautious.
Well, and part of that too is there's a dynamic, especially as you get more frail. You're living at home, everybody wants to stay at home, and maybe you're depending on a son or a daughter, and I'm sure some people are leery of saying anything, even though they're being taken advantage of, because they don't want to go to a nursing home or be taken out of the house.
Right.
So that's got to be tough, yeah.
It is, but what I would recommend, if there's a serious concern of abuse, neglect, contact Adult Protective Services. If you know of anybody that has that, if you are part of being victimized, call Adult Protective Services. A relative, a friend, are the same. Also, I wanted to mention that a lot more people are available to stay in their homes. You mentioned being able to function some of the services. Area Agency on Aging, as well as APS, doing an excellent job. Area Agency on Aging is doing an excellent job of overseeing the new Mahoning County senior levy.
Oh, that's right, yeah, there's the new levy money.
A lot more people are able to get assistance, and it is in-home service or some kind of service that keeps them in their home longer, whether it be a medical or a physical need, the laundry, things like that. So a lot of help's out there that wasn't out there short time
Even a
ago.
couple years, yeah.
Sure.
How do you try to get the word out about what you're doing and about these services that are available? I guess maybe you go speak to groups, or?
I do. I speak to a lot of groups, and I try to mention what's available to them. And again, the Attorney General's office has a number of publications that I keep in stock, and I try to hand out to direct them to the right place. Area Agency on Aging has pamphlets as well that explains the new levy information. But also, if you go to the Attorney General's office website and you go to publications, there is a section specifically for seniors for their publications.
Well, when we were talking, you were talking before again about some of the financial issues, and you said at one point about, I think it was about the door-to-door people, and that they'll even bring people to the bank. Maybe they'll take the senior to the bank. Has there been some success in coordinating with like local banks on some of the financial issues? I would think, again, the tellers are sort of frontline people on this, right?
They are, and some of them, and probably by their supervisors, have been educated a little more or trained a little better to recognize some questionable transactions. Seniors that have never had major transactions all of a sudden come in and do one or maybe two.
Yeah.
And there has been recently where tellers have questioned the transactions and actually been able to avoid the senior being victimized, and other public as well.
When it comes to something like we were talking about the emergency situations with housing, homelessness, is it possible, are there any beds available at local assisted living? Will they help at all, or is that not?
Every place helps as much as they can by rule or by volume. Boy, like everybody else, I'd love to see Northside Hospital fill up with people that are in their cars.
Yeah.
Or veterans. But I'm sure you need federal funding or state funding at least to provide additional to what they're already providing.
Right.
Like I say, they are providing money, but there's more volume than there is space.
I'm glad you mentioned veterans. Do you also work with, I guess it's a Veteran Service Commission? They've been on the show. Are they helpful in working with some seniors too?
Well, they are. They do a lot of outreach, and I'm not familiar with all the programs they do. But I was just at a meeting yesterday with all the local agencies that deal with trying to help seniors and keeping them in their home or keep giving them service. We had a large meeting at Comfort Keepers.
Okay, yeah.
And they were there. The Veterans Administration was there and had a lot of input. So everybody's has similar problems, and all the agencies are trying to work together. We had a room full where there was almost standing room with different agencies and police departments that are looking to work together.
Well, and go back to what you started with about the Senior Watch program. I know you talked about, what you're doing with the Sheriff's Office, Mahoning County, but I know somewhere in here, I think I printed out, there are a whole bunch of different departments. So like Boardman we talked about and Canfield. So you're working with them on a regular basis?
Austintown has, and I don't want to miss anybody, but Canfield does. Camel has their just started one when the new chief came in.
Looks like Poland maybe too?
Poland has one. They do not report to me, but I know they have one that's functioning well. It's Poland Township.
And again, the idea is if you're a senior or a senior out there who could use a visit or someone just to check on them from time to time, they would call your office?
They can call my office again at the 330-720-6545, or check with your local department and see if they have one that I'm not aware of, because they can be available as soon as you call in if you would need something. But as well, they may be able to sit and talk to you for a little bit.
Are there some needs of seniors that, I know we got the new senior levy money, but are there some things that we still need some help with? It sounds like housing is one of the main issues. Is there anything else? Is that one of them, or?
Housing is the big one. The other thing is to address things early. If you see an issue, to address it early, no matter what the circumstance is. And the other agencies you can notify, they can step in and check things out.
So you're saying maybe sometimes you get called in, but it's sort of too late to help?
It's not too late, but it's put them through a lot of stress, a lot of condition that if it was addressed early, would have saved them a lot of heartaches. And again, a lot more money is available
for the home,
through the levy. There's whatever the need may be. It's good to check with area agency on aging, and when you call, they ask for community resource.
Okay.
And they're the ones that handle levy money.
Yeah, and transportation has come up from time to time, but as you mentioned, you've got WRTA and Easter Seals.
You also have some private companies like Comfort Keepers has Caravan.
Okay.
And they can work a lot through area on aging as well, and get them to the doctor's appointments, whatever. They have vans or they have individual cars that and other companies as well, but they can get them place to place. There's also grocery stores that will deliver the groceries.
Well, that's true. Yeah, that's a new service.
There's a service. They might charge you $10 or whatever to do the delivery.
Right.
But and also there's pharmacies that will deliver your medication as well.
Right.
So So there's a lot of things out there that people don't think of that could make their lives easier.
Yeah, in a way, it's almost what they call Back to the Future, those old movies where, you know, in the old days, you had the milk delivery, and people would come to your house for things. Doctors would come to your house.
Sort of going back to the old
Yeah,
days.
it's sort of starting to go back to that because it makes sense, you know. People like that convenience. Before we forget, we have a few minutes to go. If you could also remind us again about the November Thanksgiving dinner and maybe how people can help.
Right, again, we deliver the meals the day before Thanksgiving, which is Wednesday, and we start about 12 o'clock noon to send the drivers out to deliver the food. So the volunteers, we like to get there about 11 o'clock at least to get signed in. We give them an ID sticker so that the people all are supposedly notified that we're coming.
Right, right.
And again, whatever help we can get as far as delivering. There's a lot of areas that are last to be delivered, but are as important as everyone else. So the more people we have delivering, the better.
We have a big county. I mean, you've got to get out to, you know, the outlying areas, so it takes a while to.
We take some to Berlin Center and, you know, all the reaches of the counties.
Are the meals prepared in Austintown at the senior center?
The turkeys are donated by Sam's Club.
Okay.
We used to have a church that cooked them. Now the sheriff's deputies cook all the turkeys.
Oh, okay.
The senior center prepares all the meals. I go out and purchase with a woman from the kitchen, all the other stuff. We put it together. A youth group comes in from our church on Tuesday night and Wednesday morning to bag the bags so everything's ready to go. The pies, the potatoes, everything else, and the meat's all weighed so everybody gets the same amount. And
Well, we got about a minute to go, but can you describe, have you seen the look on folks' faces? Or, you know, just one example of what somebody said when they get the meal?
Sure, I continually get calls, and we try to get a school to do a little turkey picture or something and put in each bag.
Sure.
And I get calls and I get cards, and they're just so appreciative that somebody took the time
Yeah.
to stop and talk to them, and the meal that they would not have gotten otherwise.
Well, again, we've been talking with Bob Schaeffer. Bob is with Mahoning County Sheriff's Office, the Senior Citizens Unit. You can reach him at 330-720-6545. Thanks, Bob, for coming in.
Okay, I appreciate it.
And you've been watching Senior Focus on Armstrong Channel 100. Thank you to Greg Roten from Armstrong for producing the show. And also thanks to the Mahoning County Library System and specifically Canfield Library for letting us come to the meeting room here. Of course, most of all, we want to thank you for watching. Till next time, take care.